Hey everyone, and welcome to another hashtag Please Just Start show with Scott Greenhut. We are broadcasting live on the In Results Radio Network inside the Perimeter Roofing Studio from the Country Inn and Suites by Radisson Hotel in beautiful Stone Mountain, Georgia. Today I'm going to talk about dates, photos, and memories after losing loved ones. But first, I would be remiss if I did not give a little background on myself for all my new listeners. So welcome. About Scott. I've started my journey as an inspirational speaker. I became the last person living in my immediate family by age 33. My mom passed away from cancer when I was 12 years old. My dad passed away after being on dialysis for 7 years in August 2017. In fact, the day before we recorded this episode was the 4-year anniversary of my dad passing away. And my sister passed away from her 8-year battle with ocular melanoma in February 2019. Between my dad and sister passing away, I was fortunate to be able to lose 110 pounds on my own, getting on my elliptical on a daily basis and eating healthy. I have not had any dessert, fast food, or fried food since February of 18. And to be honest with you, I get more excited about telling you about that now than I ever did eating it. And trust me, I really, really looked forward to eating that. I say all the time that dates, photos, and memories are all I have left of my mom, dad, and sister as long as I'm here on this earth. And unfortunately, that's very true. I wake up every day no longer having any of them. And, I feel like a lot of times, people close to me who hear it, it sounds like a broken record. But, I'm not saying everyone has their mom, dad, and sister or siblings all the time around them. But just to be as young as I am by age 33, I'm 35 now, but by age 33, no longer having them for as long as I'm here sharing mine and my family's story. I mean, it's something out of the ordinary, so it kind of sets me not apart, but like it's a difference than people that I'm around seeing them and their families interact. So I just again always talk about sharing my story. So that is, I don't want that to define me, but it's definitely a part of my everyday life when I am fortunate enough every morning to wake up. One very cool thing before my sister passed away, she had, it was actually a couple of years before, even my dad passed away. She had got me this big blanket that had a picture of me and my family on it. And I'll talk about it in a minute. That it was our last photo together as a family, from my bar mitzvah when I was almost 2 weeks before I turned 12 years old. And it has, the end of it, the side of it has a Georgia Bulldog stuff on it, but it says, no matter where we are, we'll always be together. And it's something that it covers me every night. And it's very symbolic, and it's the best. I've gotten a lot of nice presents in my life, but it's definitely by far the most thoughtful and nice, and everlasting gift that I could ever have imagined getting.
That's awesome.
I appreciate
That's awesome.
that. And that is Ryan, my guy over there.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to save it for later. My imitations.
Oh yeah, my boy. That's right. That's right.
That's right.
I'm working on trying to do better on these podcasts. I can just talk, but then it's nice to have little interludes of conversation here and there.
We're like the ESPN guys. Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to say here. So interesting enough, like I talk about, like I said, dates, photos, and memories. So we have memories in our head, and, that's something that individualized. You just think of different things, whatever. And a lot of times you can think of things from photos as well. But dates, like I said at the very beginning, my dad's anniversary of his passing away was yesterday, of the day of us recording this. It was August 10th. He passed away on August 10th, 2017. And in the evening, I walked in his hospice facility knowing that he had just passed away. They called me probably about 30 minutes before and said, just want to let you know he's transitioning. And I knew what that meant, but I was like, so like how, when you call someone to tell them that, how long do you have to get up there? They're like, I would get up here as soon as you can. And I said, okay, I'm on my way. And they were waiting for me at the door. And I said, and they're like, it just happened. And I guess, I mean, not to get too morbid, but it's part of my story. Because death is part of my story. I guess he took the last 4 deep breaths that you take before you pass on, and literally they're like you just missed them, and I feel like that was meant to be because also back my mom last month in July, my mom, it was 23 years for my mom, and my sister and I had left the hospital one time on that Sunday night that she went in for the last time when she ended up passing away eventually on Tuesday. We had left for about 30 minutes to get her some more turbans and stuff for her head and so just a few odd and ends from the house. And then we never left again. Sunday night, we spent the night at the hospital. Monday night, we spent the night at the hospital. And then Tuesday, I left for the first time in the afternoon, 3 something. And within the hour, she passed away. I kind of thought it might be the last time we'd be at the hospital with her, but the only time that I left again, and family started coming in on Sunday afternoon. And I remember Melissa was at home still, and Gordon, my dad, my boy, and I had, we had taken my mom up to the hospital, and they were like, Scott, can you leave the room? So I'm 12 at the time. So I'm like, of course I'm going to listen in because they're telling me to leave and to leave the room. And I heard the doctor say to ask my mom, Scott, or I heard him ask my mom, say, Harriet, do you want to be on a respirator for the rest of your life? She could barely, answer. I guess she could nod or whatever, but she could barely talk even when they went in, because 5 days prior to her passing away was my parents' 20-year anniversary. See, these are all, I'm just having a conversation with you here, Ryan, and these are all numbers and dates and stuff.
The numbers are killing me. I'm going to need to put you on my quick speed dial where I can ask you the quick numbers, because you're really good at it.
Well,
really good.
I think everyone's good with it with their own story. You know what I mean? With their own story for what they're trying to do. But it's my reality, but it's the only thing now tangible that I have left of my family.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I even, in my notes here, I had written down, I kind of digressed for a second, which I do.
No, you're good.
But I have one of my notes in here about there's 365 days out of the year, if I did my math right. Yeah. So 359 minus the 6 days of my mom, dad, and sister, the day they were born, their birthday and their death day, they're all, there's a I'm thinking too hard here. Pardon me for a second.
That's okay. You're thinking. So I started filming you, and you were thinking like Hollywood. So now you got to go back to hit those free throws.
I got it.
All right.
Put your elbow in.
Put them in. Follow through.
Bend your knees.
Bend your knees.
I've coached 9 seasons of rec
right
basketball.
over the top thing, and let's just get a swish, okay?
We got it. Got it.
Okay.
From the top. 5, 6, 7, 8.
There you go.
All right. So with a birthday and a death day, that's 6 days out of the year right there that are automatically days that are going to be different than the 359. And then I put to try to make a little humor with it. I said, I hope I did my math right with 359 other days. But I know on here, it's one thing to do it at home, but then to say it out loud on the podcast, maybe it's not that funny. Thank you. I'll be here till we're done.
You'll be here all night.
I'll be here till we're done.
All right.
So yeah, like I said, with my immediate family alone, I have 6 dates that are days that are out of the ordinary, but I still think about them all the time. And then one thing I really want to talk about on here is cherishing the time you have with your family. But more than that, you take pictures with them, and you can do funny pictures or whatever. And not that I sit here and say you must do serious photos, but when at some point your reality is all you have left is photos, it's I want you to cherish them. Think about what you were doing at that time. Take it seriously, even though that would be a piece of advice I would give, to take photos seriously, because they may sound like nothing right now when you still have your family. But at some point, myself, who was 33 when my family when they were all gone, it's just, it's something not to harp on, but it's something that's real, that you can hold in your hand. You can see the family, but and
it brings back the memories in that time. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
So I have written here to do not, and I have a period after each one. So I want to emphasize, please do not take the time you are fortunate to have with your family for granted. And when at the end, when you're okay, it's picture time or whatever, then not that, like I said, not has to be serious face, but like take that seriously, because like I go over the same ones over and over again. I have a few different ones with my dad. I have a lot more with my sister, and I have, quite a few with my mom, but I was 12 when she passed away. So I don't have, any in a cell phone from a cell phone or anything. Like I said in my first podcast, I think my mom never had a cell phone number. Like
right.
When cell phones were prevalent and getting big, whatever, they weren't, my mom was already passed away.
Right.
So like she passed away in 98. So it's like, my mom never even had a cell phone number. And for like 6 months after my dad died, I still had to deal with his cell phone. And even though that was his, that really was weird, because his was his business phone as well. And he still had clients calling. And like for like 6 months, I was like having to answer and pick up and return phone calls. And it really felt really weird, even though like we talk about memories and stuff like that. That's not one memory because that was business stuff. So like
somebody had told me years ago that happened to them. That must be just surreal. Like months after trying to explain that.
I'm looking for Gordon. I'm like, well, he passed away 6 months ago, 7 months, like whatever it was. I'm like, oh, and like, he had clients that, reached out when they needed something. He was an attorney. So people who didn't know and they were expecting him, and he was always like, the thing about him, if he was always there for them, he was always there for his clients. Best dad in the world, I'll be honest. I'm always honest on here sharing my story. Not the best dad. We had closure at the end, which I'm grateful for every single day of my life. And I'm fortunate for everything from him at this stage in my life. But like, he was a really good attorney, and he was there for his clients. And I watched that day to day. And then when he passed away, and I had to deal with stuff like that to get things situated and stuff, I really appreciated him more for everything he did. And he never had a secretary. He worked for himself, all for himself. So it was just kind of interesting, like, to appreciate him more once he was gone, seeing what he had to deal with when you have to like deal with that stuff on your own. And he did it all by himself. He used a typewriter. He was hand pecking. I mean, if you're watching the video here, you'd see it, but he was literally just hand pecking away on his typewriter. I don't know if you can hear that. I don't know if that's good sound, but
yeah, I think you hear it.
Yeah, it was something. So, I mean, it was, the tangibleness. I wasn't planning on talking about his, his cell phone, but I mean, that's something so crazy that you've heard someone say that before.
They had, yeah. He just said it's just, you're weird how to answer it.
Yeah. And they're expecting someone alive. It's like one thing if it's like a week or two after, but like that had to do it for like 6 months or up to 6 months.
Think about this, Scott. I think for our listeners, or for your listeners, I would say, but now you've got people with Facebook accounts, whatever, that have passed, and their Facebook's still.
Yeah, even my sister, because
Right.
my sister had taken me off. We had talked for 4 times for the last 8 months of her life. She wanted to kind of go ahead and get me used to her not being there, and she was fighting for her life for a lot longer than at the very end, and that's just how she had to deal with it. And I always talk about when I've been on stage, but fortunate to speak 5 times so far, I always say, like, don't judge someone because you don't know. She was 37. And in fact, in 2 weeks from yesterday, 2 weeks after my dad's passing away, it was her birthday, and we're about to approach what would be her 40th birthday. And see, that's again talking about dates and days and numbers, and it's just like whatever year it is. I mean, that's why we all have numbers. One thing I did think about, not to go on a tangent here, but one thing I thought about is like I coached 9 seasons of youth basketball in the Atlanta area, and it's like it's rec ball, but you have refs for a reason. So like everything, even though in the scheme of life, coaching rec ball or rec ball records not a big deal, but then why do you have refs? Because you're keeping score. Because it is important in that moment, whatever it is. Because it could be about life lessons that you learn out there. You obviously want to put the ball in the hoop, but like whatever it is. So we don't want to just go through motions with whatever we do in life. I know this is kind of on a tangent, but it made me think about it like dates and stuff. Every single day could be someone's best day, and every single day is someone's in this world's worst day. Mm-hmm. So like cherish the days you have.
Yep.
And I sit here and do the best I can every day, but with no mom, dad, and sister to go home and talk to, text, email. I just want to urge everyone who's fortunate to be in a position who has all these people to really cherish that time. That's why, again, we talk about please just start. It could be anything, but that included. Don't ever take your family for granted. That's what I have at the very end here. And I know we'll kind of tie up loose ends here at the very end here, but that's one of the things like I want to stress. I want to talk about living life with no regrets, because again, yesterday was, my dad passing away, and it was the 4-year anniversary of him passing away. And when I walked in and saw him laying there I hate to say it, but laying there dead, lifeless, his lifeless body, I mean, that's when I saw my future. He always said, you're going to be just like me if you don't change what you're doing, because I was doing the same thing you're doing. So in his mind, automatically, it was like, if you keep on this, you're going to be just like me. And it took him laying there. He was kind of like my personal martyr. I always said this. He was my personal martyr. And it took him passing away to realize. And so between him and my sister passing away, because they passed away 9 days shy of a year and a half from each other, I lost 110 pounds on my own, working out every single day. And again, these are numbers that most people won't care about, but that's why I'm talking about numbers today, emphasizing it a little more, because like to every individual, not everyone's going to care about my numbers, but everyone has their own numbers with their situation. 4 months and a day after my dad died, I started my journey on my elliptical on Monday, December 11th, 2017. And so far, I'm very fortunate to say I've even done my 10 miles today as of recording today. I've missed 23 days since the start of my journey.
Wow.
23 days. And 22 were in a row from getting Crohn's disease. I started back July 1st of 19. So every day, today is full disclosure, Wednesday, August 11th, when we're recording here of 2021. And I have not missed one day, very fortunate to say, because I keep track of it. I've not missed one day since July 1st I started back on July 1st of 19. And I missed from June 9th. And the reason, again, today I'm talking about numbers that much is, to me, they're important. To you, to everyone else, my numbers aren't going to be as important. But if I'm going to tell you something, then I have to show you what I'm talking about. So for me, these are important numbers. Everyone's going to be like, I'm a little lost. And I understand that, because every day in my life, I'm kind of lost too. But I digress. But I do want to end by saying, please do not take the time that you're fortunate to have with your family for granted. I hope that in a minute, when this podcast for the day is done, that you will turn this off and you will go make that phone call, send that text, or go on a surprise visit to go see your family and let them know how much they mean to you. Because at the end of the day, all you'll have is photos, memories, and just being able to talk about them. That's all you're going to have at the end. And I hate to say it and not be morbid, but what's happened to me, unfortunately, will happen to everyone. It's just mine's already happened. All three of my sibling has passed away and my parents have passed away. Nothing I can do about it but share and try to. I don't like move on. I like move forward, because they would want me to move forward. And at one point, I couldn't mentally ever even think about doing that. But I know that's what they would want me to do. And that's why all these different ways and social media and talking about my story, I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. And that kind of will end today. But I really do want to emphasize again one more time, just to cherish the time that you have with your family, because the photos and the memories and just thinking about them and talking about them is all you're going to have at one point. So thanks for tuning in to another Please Just Start show on the End Results Radio Network inside the Perimeter Roofing Studio from the Country Inn and Suites by Radisson in beautiful Stone Mountain, Georgia. Please stay tuned for upcoming shows or listen to past shows by visiting www.endresults.com with a Z, and simply click on the current shows button to hear this and many other shows on the network 24/7 or anywhere you get your podcasts. Until next time, this is Scott Greenhut signing off. This has been another Please Just Start show. And my hope is you'll live your life with no regrets and go after that thing that you constantly think about, and Please Just Start.